The current story, I mean, it's hard to sort of get a handle on all the various stories surrounding the escalating crisis over Andrew, the way the King's handling it, the rest of the family. But the current story seems to be, the news story, was that Jeffrey Epstein was reportedly trafficking women through UK airports until just a month before his arrest in 2019, that he travelled to and from Britain on his private jet more than 60 times, often using airports like RAF and Norton and places like that, so using official military bases. In your research, or in your knowledge, would Andrew have been involved in all of this?
Yes, well, it seems extraordinary that...
Imagine, if you will, the sheer, unadulterated audacity of a man who spent 10 years as a global trade envoy, supposedly representing the best of British industry, while allegedly treating the public purse like a bottomless pit for personal pampering. We are talking about Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, the man who has gone from the high-flying luxury of private jets to the cold, fluorescent reality of an 11-hour interrogation at Aylsham police station. But the plot has just thickened faster than a bowl of royal porridge. Chancellor Rachel Reeves has officially entered the chat, and she is not here for the pleasantries. Following his shock arrest on suspicion of misconduct in public office, the Treasury is now looking at the receipts, and they are reportedly horrified by what they are finding. From daily massages at Jeffrey Epstein's Florida mansion to claims of naked massages funded by the royal family, the bill is coming due, and Andrew is reportedly breaking down in tears as the realization hits: the taxpayer wants their money back. It is a financial and moral reckoning that has left the House of York in a state of absolute panic. Quick favor, if you are loving this, hit that subscribe button. Over 92% of viewers haven't yet. It is free, takes a second, and means the world to us. Thank you if you did. Now back to the show.
It seems extraordinary that these flights were able to go through some of these airports. We know that the Lita flight went to places like RAF Marham, which is actually quite a sensitive military installation. So it does suggest that Andrew was able to pull some strings. I certainly, when I put in FOI requests around some of these questions in the past, and no one was prepared to answer them, which suggests that there was something that people did want to hide. But yeah, it does seem extraordinary that, right up to his arrest, he was able to do this.
Yeah, as I say, one would assume, God knows why he kept coming to this country, but presumably for some of those times, and we've read these stories, some of the times it was to see his friend Andrew, or Prince Andrew as he was then, and that at least one or two of the girls, possibly more, were transported directly to Buckingham Palace to spend an evening of fun.
There is a specific kind of chill that descends when the person in charge of the United Kingdom's money starts using your first name in a sentence about misused funds. Rachel Reeves, the Chancellor of the Exchequer, was recently quizzed by the iPaper on whether Andrew should repay any public money that was spent on private extracurricular activities during his decade-long stint as trade envoy. Her response was 2 words long and sharper than a diamond-tipped drill. Of course. This is not just political posturing, it is a declaration of war on royal entitlement. Reeves was also asked about comments made by her cabinet colleague, Sir Chris Bryant, who branded Andrew as rude, arrogant, and entitled. When asked if she agreed with this assessment, she replied with the ultimate British put-down: "Well, I have never met him, and I think that is probably for the best." Ouch. That is the verbal equivalent of being told your presence is so toxic it is a health and safety violation. The government is making it very clear that the trade envoy years are being forensically audited, and if public money went toward anything other than promoting British widgets, they are coming for the cash.
Now, I know I ask you this every time, but there is a police investigation going on into Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. He stands accused, of misuse, misbehaviour in a public office, misconduct in a public office. He denies that. Now, the police investigation is going on. They took him into a police cell last week, interrogated him for 12 hours. You, arguably, Andrew, probably got more information on this man, Mountbatten Windsor, than anyone else. Have the police been in touch?
Now, let us get into the disgusting details that have the Treasury so riled up. During the investigation into the Epstein files, some truly bizarre testimonies have surfaced. Juan Alessi, the former housekeeper for Jeffrey Epstein, testified that Andrew had daily massages while staying at Epstein's Florida home. Now, a massage in itself is not a crime, but the context here is everything. One masseuse has come forward with a separate claim, alleging she gave Andrew a naked massage and, here is the kicker, added that this was paid for by the royal family. If these claims are substantiated, it means that while the British public was tightening its belt, royal funds, which are inextricably linked to public support, were potentially being used to fund naked therapeutic sessions in the home of a convicted sex offender. The analogy here is a CEO using the company credit card to pay for a spa day while the employees are being laid off. It is the height of arrogance and entitlement, and is precisely why the Chancellor is now calling for a full repayment. The idea that Andrew was working for the UK while receiving daily rubdowns at Epstein's lair is a PR disaster that no amount of royal spin can fix.
So of course, Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, as he is now, is under criminal investigation for charges or allegations that he denies that he was guilty of misconduct in a public office while he was trade envoy in the early noughties.
While the Chancellor was talking numbers, Andrew was experiencing the sharp end of the law. Last Thursday, February 19th, 2006, the 66-year-old was arrested at his temporary home at Wood Farm on the Sandringham estate. He was taken to Aylsham Police Station, where he was quizzed for 11 hours. Imagine that, 11 hours of being asked about every flight, every hotel room, and every massage receipt from 2001 to 2011. Reports suggest that by the end of the session, Andrew was breaking down in tears, overwhelmed by the sheer volume of evidence being presented. He was released under investigation, which is the police way of saying, "We are not done with you yet." The arrest was reportedly triggered by fears of a cover-up regarding his behavior during his friendship with Epstein. The authorities are worried that sensitive trade information was the currency Andrew used to maintain his high society lifestyle. As the police search of Royal Lodge and Wood Farm continues, the suspense is building. Andrew has consistently denied any wrongdoing, and no charges have been officially leveled yet, but the tears suggest a man who finally realizes that his birthright is no longer a get-out-of-jail-free card.
I mean, we've got the famous 2022 High Court case where monies were found in their accounts that they couldn't explain, for example. So I do think they should be taken in for questioning. They are material witnesses.
To understand why the public is so angry, we have to look at what the trade envoy role was actually for. Andrew was supposed to be the great British salesman flying the flag for UK business overseas, but as the 2026 investigation deepens, it looks less like he was selling Britain and more like he was selling his own influence. The misconduct in public office charge specifically relates to the allegation that he uses access to confidential government reports to benefit his legendary friend Jeffrey Epstein. The Chancellor's demand for repayment is based on the idea that the role was abused. If you are sent to a country to sell cars, but you spend your time at a private villa receiving massages paid for by the taxpayer, you have breached the public trust. The Treasury is reportedly looking at a figure in the millions when you factor in security, travel, and sundry expenses. The broke life of Andrew is about to get a lot more literal if the government forces him to sell off what remains of his private assets to settle his debt to the state. He is a man in shock, watching his legacy be reduced to a line item in a forensic audit.
Etc. And we've had stories in the press recently about how bean counters were questioning some of the expenses he was putting on to the taxpayer, including the massages, and those were being sort of pushed through. And I think, clearly people were allowing these things. On what basis were they allowing him to make these claims? And so I think there are more people who should be in the frame. And of course, there's his private secretary, Amanda Thirsk, his the people he worked with, David Rowlands, David Stern, Dominic Hampshire. All these people, I hope the police are beginning to question, because they clearly...
Throughout this financial and legal meltdown, King Charles III has maintained a stony silence. His statement that the law must take its course was the ultimate abandonment. By allowing Rachel Reeves and the cabinet to openly criticize Andrew's arrogance, the king is giving the green light for a total institutional purge. The royal family mentioned by the masseuse is a very different beast in 2006 than it was in 2006. The current king has no intention of footing the bill for his brother's private massages or his legal fees. The public verdict is already in. A recent poll showed that 88% of Britons believe Andrew should repay every penny of misused funds and be removed from the line of succession immediately. The Sir address from staff, the horse riding ban, and now the Chancellor's repayment demand are all parts of the same puzzle, the total deroyalisation of Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. He is no longer the Queen's second son. He is a rude, arrogant suspect who is reportedly crying at the thought of losing his remaining creature comforts. As the investigation continues, the only thing certain is that the taxpayer is no longer willing to be the all-round dog's body for a man who forgot who he was supposed to be serving. Thank you for watching.